Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon for those tuning in on the East Coast. I'm Tulio Siragusa, and this is Dojo Live. This is the recap show. Today is Tuesday, June 1st, 2021. We usually have the recap show on Mondays at noon, but it was a holiday yesterday, so we enjoyed barbecuing like everybody else, and we're
Oh
back
yeah,
today at 10 a.m. to do the recap from last week's show. I'm joined by Carlos Ponce from Cuernavaca, Mexico. Hi, Carlos.
it's a pleasure to
Welcome.
be here as ever, Tulio.
All right, so we're recapping two shows from
Yes,
last week.
sir.
We had some replays, some rebroadcasts where we will do that. If we don't have a guest one day, we will rebroadcast one of like 400 different interviews we've done over the years.
Right.
So we keep the airways busy, right? So, but we had two live interviews the last week. The first one was with
Larry
Larry
Rosen.
Rosenzweig,
Yes.
who's the co-founder and CEO at Cquence. And the topic was the rise of the creator economy. And then the second show we had was with Julien Winkel, who is the CEO at Aithena. And the conversation was around the future of prospecting. How will AI find your ICP for you? Great conversation, very disruptive companies and their markets. I enjoyed very much talking with both of them. It's just fun doing what we do, isn't it, Carlos? We get to talk
Yeah.
to people innovating and creating the future.
Yeah.
I always
And I
joke
think,
around. It's like you
and
can
I think
read
this
on.
is.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, this is because you mentioned that it's fun, and I think it is, but for the most part, I think it's enriching because here's what I've discovered, Tulio. When I speak to these our guests, it's not only them sharing their journey with the audience. It's also about having us learn a bunch of things. For example, when I was listening to what's his name, to Larry Rosenzweig, the co-founder and CEO of Cquence, and the topic was, how do you become a revenue generating creator? And we're all somehow creating one thing or another nowadays. So we're all creators because we're doing a bunch of things. We're doing videos, we're doing cartoons, we're doing writing. So it is a very enriching experience to talk to these people, what we call the movers and shakers of these spaces, because we learn, and it's actionable information that we can put to good use ourselves, either on our own endeavors or on our jobs. I think that's why I say and I highlight enriching, to say the least. That's why I like this
Absolutely.
kind, right?
Absolutely. Look, I was speaking earlier this morning to a major news network. They're working on a feature to talk to global innovators about the emergence of about emerging technologies.
Right.
And I was saying to the producer, I was like, you can go read a Gartner report, and they're great, and you can see what's going on, and they can make amazing prediction. Or you can watch Dojo Live and come talk to us because
Exactly.
we're talking to the CEOs actually creating the future. And I was sharing some of the things we learned about the company that has the robotics for precision operations. Like that's disruptive. Like now you can introduce a SaaS model to very expensive equipment to do operations, precise operations
Hmm.
in secondary markets. I was talking about Luca Emili in Italy about their in silico trial. I mean, there's so many unique, amazing technologies that are changing, that are going to change the landscape of our world. And so, yes, the rise of the creator economy. I think what was interesting about that with Cquence is the fact that you don't have to have millions of followers to
Exactly.
actually generate income. You can have, I think the magic number was a minimum of 500 subscribers, like people who are loyal, who watch week in and week out, day in and day out. Those subscribers are like gold. You can actually monetize that. So the idea of reaching millions of people is not that important. What's important is to have loyal, repeat subscribers. That's the key thing to start to generate revenues from the content that you're creating.
Yeah, and I think I would hesitantly use maybe the word tribe, if I may, loosely, freely. I mean, I kind of have mixed feelings about using that word, but I think that's what it's about. It's having a tribe of people,
Yes.
your own community of people who are kindred, kindred to you and to what you're doing and what you're about. That's my take.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, moving on, the future of prospecting. How will AI find your ICP? This was another interesting conversation with Julien Winkel about how to leverage artificial intelligence to essentially study your existing client base, learn the nuances from them,
Hmm.
pick up on how to replicate that persona per se of your client base to go and target new clients, right? To identify what are the not thousands of companies you need to reach out, hoping that you get to the right people, to actually have a more focused, lasered approach. Like literally come up with who are the next 200 customers that really match up very well to what you've done extremely well with already with your existing customers. And
Hmm.
there's obviously a lot of nuances to that, such as the size of the company, the scope, the industry that they're in, the stage of their evolution as a company, whether a Series A, Series B, or public, or what have you. There's a lot of elements to that, which if you've got an army of analysts that can put all that stuff together, great. But most companies don't. So
Hmm.
that's kind of getting an army of analysts in a box that does all that work for you. And that's, again, another disruptive solution for how to prospect for customers. What do you think
Exactly.
of that?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that again, because I relate to what I currently do, just this idea, this notion of putting AI to work and go find my ICP. In sales or marketing, it's all about finding your ICP, right? So just this notion of let's call it having AI do the heavy lifting at some point. I think it's extremely appealing. I mean, I was thinking about even try to see if we get some freebie or something from our guests, because I think it's worth giving it a try and see how far we can stretch it, how far we can go, how high we can boost our results when we're building a business relationship. So so again, it's AI. It's the almighty AI nowadays. I look forward to assessing how far I can take this.
I think it's also interesting to say that there are practical uses for AI. It's not about machines taking over, let's the Borg
Hmm.
taking over. There are practical uses for AI that you can apply today.
Right.
Even though it's not, the general AI, which is what everybody sort of strives for, neural thinking AI. That's probably not going to happen for who knows how long, if it ever happen. But things like this, where you can automate what normally takes lots and lots of people. I mean, that's the end goal, right? If you can automate a lot of processes that would take a lot of people to analyze information, or you can make people a lot smarter at their job, then you are succeeding at the use of AI. All
Right.
right, what do we got coming up, Carlos, for this week?
Yeah, we have three shows, Tulio, and actually, we have one today. As a matter of fact, we're going to be speaking with Uri Maus. I hope I pronounced it correctly. The Chief Revenue Officer of Upsolver. The topic is going to be cloud data lakes, challenges and best practices for creating widespread adoption. That's today, right here on Dojo Live at 12 p.m. Pacific. Then tomorrow, on Wednesday, we have at 10 a.m. Pacific. We have Ty Beard and Megan Conan from ASTM. I believe that's correct, the name of the company, right, Tulio?
Yeah.
ASTM, and the topic is strategies to make your training program pandemic proof. Hey, don't we all look forward to that, right? And finally, on the same day of tomorrow, we're going to be speaking with Sherry Shang, the CEO of GenoPalette. The topic is going to be Healthy 4.0, how to personalize your nutrition. So it's all
Mm.
about tech and nutrition, as we've had other similar conversations in the past. So that's what we have for this week. And there's no show on Thursday because we have the all hands, I believe. And so that's what we have right here on Dojo Live as ever.
See you back at 12 o'clock Pacific. Don't
See
miss it.
you. See you then.